Good morning. Nice. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hobart, where we strive to put love at the center of how we show up in the world. I'm Carla Banks, your worship associate for this morning. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. Today, our worship service will be led by our minister, Reverend Cathy Harrington. Since not everyone can attend in person, we are streaming this worship service online, and we extend a special welcome to all who are joining us virtually. Another way we walk together is by joining together for fun and fellowship. In the interest of time, if you have an announcement to share, please send it to Ashley in the office by Wednesday. And look for our weekly Spark for more announcements. If you don't receive the Spark, fill out a visitor form from the parish hall. However, we do have 2 live announcements today. So, Dick?
Thank you. I'll make this quick. I want to tell you about a fundraiser to support kids in Gary to give them free musical instrument lessons. The Gary Rotary, in conjunction with the Gary Historical and Cultural Society, is doing a fundraiser next Saturday in Miller at the Gardner Center. We'll have music from the string quartet from the Gary Symphony, as well as students performing. There's going to be food, there's going to be a silent auction. So please, if you are interested, ask me for more details. It's $25 a person, and it'll support student musicians in Gary. Thank you.
Thank you. And Stephanie?
Thanks, Carla. As mentioned in the Spark, the annual point-in-time homeless count is coming up, and I just wanted to add a clarifying mention. The event takes place on January 28th, and they are looking for volunteers. You don't have to have any prior experience. There is a training, and it's mentioned in the Spark. I do also have a cell phone for the director if anybody wants to contact her directly. Her name is Laurice Wesley, or you can see me for more information. But the clarifying information, the event in total is from 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. It's like a 24-hour thing. That does not mean that if you volunteer, you have to do 24 hours. You can volunteer for kind of any point in that time. You can do an hour, or you can do a lot of people do 4-hour shifts, or kind of whatever you want to do. I just wanted to make sure to make it clear that you do not have to, nobody does 24 hours. So just wanted to point that out. Thanks.
Thank you. Please take a moment to greet your neighbors. Say hello to someone you don't know. Hi, everybody. Please turn off or silence your devices. As you do so, allow yourself to enter sacred time together. Take a deep breath. And another. And join in the spirit of reverence.
Each week during our Sunday morning worship service, we join in reciting the words of our affirmation in your order of service and on the screen. So please join me. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. Service is its prayer. And this is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It suggests the transformations that take place when we are held within religious community. When we light the chalice in worship, we illuminate a world that we feel called upon to serve with love and a sense of justice. Please join us in lighting our chalice by reading together the words on the screen. We gather this hour
as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Join us in the doxology.
Good morning. It's good to be together again, especially in these times. The invocation is by Beth Munholland. We gather on this cold January day, seeking the warmth of community, trusting in our shared commitments to promote justice and seek peace. We come with hearts filled with joy and weighed with worry for all that we face in these coming days. And we gather to remember that we are not alone. We join a cloud of witnesses, a legion of ancestors who remind us that countless before us have faced perilous times. We gather to remember, in the words of Dr. King, that human progress never rolls on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through tireless efforts of those of us who know that the time is always ripe to do the right thing. And though we may be tired and weary and worried, may this time renew our spirits and call us ever forward to liberation and love. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 1008 in our teal hymnal, When My Heart is in a Holy Place. come forward to hear a story if you'd like to come forward. No? Okay. That means I'm going to sit on the steps, and if you see me struggling to get up, you'll come help me up. Okay. This book is called Pies from Nowhere. Yay. All right. There are going to be pictures on the screen, but if you want to watch, you want to see the book. Okay. When Georgia Gilmore was a young girl, she lived on a farm in Alabama where she fed the pigs and milked the cows. Georgia did her best to listen to what her mother taught her. Think twice before doing anything you might regret, and never, ever hate anyone. Well, Georgia grew up and soon had a family of her own, and she did plenty of cooking along the way. And when it was time for something sweet, she knew just what to do. She'd blend butter and sugar in a bowl to get her homemade pound cake started, and then she'd add tea bags to a pot of water for a new batch of sweet tea. Georgia was a cook at the National Lunch Company in downtown Montgomery, Alabama. You can see the pictures. Because of segregation laws, the restaurant counter was separated in two sections. One side were the white customers, and the other side were for black customers. Georgia knew that was wrong, but that was the way it had always been. On December 1st, 1955, Georgia was working at her restaurant, when a news alert came over the radio. An African-American woman named Rosa Parks had been arrested for refusing to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger. Rosa was tired of giving in to rules that were unjust, and she wasn't the only one. The next day, a flyer was passed around the black community in Montgomery asking people to boycott public transportation on Monday. Yeah. And it said, please stay off all the buses. Georgia watched as buses drove by the street, one after another, empty, empty, empty. Because she'd been treated poorly by drivers so many times before, she hadn't taken the bus for 2 months. But she wanted to be a part of a movement that was still growing. Not long after, she went to the Holt Street Baptist Church to hear Dr. Martin Luther King speak, and the church was full. The crowd overflowed into the street outside, and large speakers had been set up so everyone could hear. And Dr. King spoke about doing good things for one another. Yeah, that's right. And he talked about freedom and unity and equality. We are determined here in Montgomery to work and fight until justice runs down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. These were the things Georgia believed in, and she was willing to fight for them. So Georgia decided to help the best way she knew how. She gathered a group of women, and they purchased the supplies they needed, bread, lettuce, and chickens. And then off they went to cook. The women brought food to the meetings that followed at the church, and they sold sandwiches. They sold dinners in their neighborhoods. And the bus boycotters walked and walked, and Georgia cooked and cooked. And boy, did the people of Montgomery love her food. Georgia's group donated their profits from the sales to the Montgomery Improvement Association, which helped fund the boycott. But if anyone had found out these women were involved, they would have been fired from their jobs. So Georgia ran the operation, and the other women acted as secret helpers. See, the way I figure it, people always had to eat, so I made pies, said Georgia. The women sold baked goods to local stores, groceries, laundromats, beauty salons, and people paid in cash, so they wouldn't be connected to aiding the boycott. Sweet potato pie, peach pie, red velvet cake, 7-Up cake. Only Georgia knew who baked them, and only Georgia knew who bought them. Every Monday and Thursday, Georgia would go to the boycott strategy meetings at the church, and she'd walk up to the collection plate and announce how much her group was contributing. There was cheering and clapping and foot stomping. But whenever people asked where the money come from, she remembered her promise to keep it a secret. She said it came from nowhere. And because of this, her brave group of women became known as the Club from Nowhere. And not only did the club raise enough money to purchase gas for the carpool system that had been set up for the boycott, but they were also able to buy station wagons to aid the effort and to help people get where they needed to go. But Montgomery didn't want buses continuing to lose money, so the city did what they could to stop the protesters in their efforts. Dr. King and 89 others were arrested for their roles in the boycott. And Georgia was called to speak in court about an instance when a bus driver had mistreated her. After she had already paid, the driver demanded she get off and enter through the back of the bus. Yeah, she's making a pledge. So when I reached the back, she said, when I reached the back door and was about to get off, he shut the back door and pulled off. He wouldn't even let her back on the bus. So I decided right then and there I wasn't going to ride buses anymore. Georgia knew what she was doing was the right thing by standing up for her fellow protesters. But news of the trial spread across the country like wildfire. And the National Lunch Company found out she was a part of the boycott, and Georgia got fired from her job. She was unemployed, raising 6 children of her own, and she needed to find a new way to support her family. Dr. King encouraged her to start her own business. All these years, you've worked for somebody else, and now it's time you worked for yourself. He helped her improve her kitchen in her home, and she got new pots and pans and cooking supplies. And the word got around. People came to eat at Georgia's. When they came to her house for a meal, they would eat wherever they could find a seat, and sometimes they'd eat standing up. And Georgia loved to talk and joke with her customers and friends, and soon there were long lines to get her meals. People ordered meals for delivery. She was making hundreds of lunches each day. Fried chicken, black-eyed peas with okra, fresh corn muffins, and apple pie. And she sent her 6 kids out to deliver them. And if you were lucky, you might get some of her homemade mac and cheese. Well, she was providing good for the community, but she was also bringing the people of Montgomery together, both black and white. And Dr. King frequently had meals at Georgia's house because she was a big woman with a big personality, and he lovingly called her Tiny. And because civil rights leaders knew they could trust Georgia, her home became an important place for secret meetings. I just served them and let them talk, she'd say. On 1956, November 13th, Georgia was cooking in her kitchen, listening to music on the radio, when the station interrupted the song to deliver the news. The Supreme Court had declared that segregation on buses was illegal. The boycotters had won. People could ride the bus and sit anywhere they wanted. So at the next church meeting, Georgia sat in her seat and listened as Dr. King announced the Montgomery bus boycott was a success. We didn't have to walk anymore, said Georgia, and even before Martin Luther King got up there and told us it was over, we knew it was over. We knew we had won. Still, there would be more battles to fight, so Georgia Gilmore kept right on cooking. And that's the story. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part is speak up. You like the pie?
Yeah. And my favorite part were the black-eyed peas and the okra. My favorite part was that Georgia baked pies, and it was just pies from nowhere that helped support the bus boycott. It doesn't take, big, huge ideas to save our democracy. That's right. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. All right, here we go.
Thank you. I learned some things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. You're welcome.
Each week, we share a portion of our Sunday offering with a social justice cause outside our church walls. This month, we are sharing our loose change with the Northwest Indiana's Organization for Women Period Equity Project. The Period Equity Project places free pads and tampons directly in middle and high school bathrooms in our community. We will also be collecting physical donations for period products through the end of January in the parish hall. Donations in the baskets will go to sustaining the mission of our congregation, and donations in the cups goes to support the members and friends of Unitarian, Northwest Indiana, in emergencies. For those not in person today, there's an online link for both one-time and regular donations. Would 4 volunteers please come forward to carry the baskets and cups? For your prayers, your presence, your service, and your gifts, we are truly grateful. Aw, you want to come up here? Right over here. There you go. Right over there. Thank you.
Now, in the center of our service and the center of our lives, let us pause to honor the silences of the world. Let us open our hearts to the place of quiet, to the silent prayer for the healing of pain, and the soft, gentle coming of love. I'd like to enter our moment of silence with this prayer for justice and renewal by Reverend A.K. Bell. Spirit of life and love, we come with hearts both heavy and hopeful, drawing upon our shared strength, wisdom, and the power of community. We lift up all who carry the weight of injustice. Help us to create a world where every person's dignity is honored and where all can thrive without fear. Remind them and us that they are sacred, beloved, and whole. And Spirit of renewal, help us rise each day with courage, compassion, and clarity. Guide us toward the mountaintop of hope, where we recognize one another as kindred, bound together in one human family. As Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Let us rely not solely on our eyes, but on our shared wisdom and communal resolve, moving forward in faith as we bend the arc toward justice together. Grant us the grace to be builders of the beloved community, a world where justice and compassion are not distant dreams, but living realities made by our hands and hearts. And in the spirit of hope, courage, clarity, and compassion, we pray. Amen. Let us pause together for a moment of silence. I invite you now to come forward if you choose to light a candle of memory or hope, or just sit quietly as the music holds us in a meditative space. The chalice went out. Light it. Now let us fill this sacred space with the names of loved ones we hold close in our hearts this morning, some suffering in sorrow and some celebrating in joy. May they feel the warmth of our embrace this morning.
Joys and sorrows are a time to share personal joys that you are celebrating so that we can celebrate them with you as a community. It is also a time to share personal sorrows that weigh on our hearts so that we can support one another in our times of sorrow and grief. Keep this in mind and be aware that this part of the service excludes our online members, friends, and visitors.
meditation on breathing, number 1009 in your teal hymnal.
Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. I'll breathe in peace, breathe out. I'll breathe out love, breathe in. I'll breathe in peace, breathe out. I'll breathe out love, breathe in. I'll breathe in peace, breathe out. I'll breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. Breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. I'll breathe out love.
Our reading today is by Amanda Gorman, The Hill We Climb. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour. But within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we ask, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or be interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy, and change our children's birthright, and let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze-pounded breast, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the West. We will rise from the wind-swept Northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover, and every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When the day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. A new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. May we be brave and proud to be maladjusted.
Martin Luther King said, "There are some things within our social order to which I am proud to be maladjusted, and to which I call upon you to be maladjusted." I never intend to adjust myself to mob rule. I never intend to adjust myself to tragic effects of the methods of physical violence and to the tragic militarism. God grant that we shall be so maladjusted that we be able to go out and change our world and our civilization. I'm feeling an echo here somewhere. Okay, thank you. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling maladjusted. And I'm also brokenhearted. And I suspect many people feel this way. I have learned that a broken heart still beats, however. And being maladjusted by the tsunami of assaults on democracy, on human decency, and all that we hold true is causing severe moral injury. Injury that our black and brown neighbors know all too well. And yet they have persisted, resisted, survived, and thrived. Oh, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. 2 days ago, on Friday night, on the Stephen Colbert Show, historian John Meacham introduced his newest book that will be out in February, Democracy, Dissent, and the Pursuit of a More Perfect Union. He said this, and I'm going to tell you what he said, and then I'll ask for his forgiveness since I didn't get his permission. The founders anticipated that we would have seasons of fear, he said. He told Colbert. We'd have seasons in which we would not obey the rule of law, that our appetites and ambitions would overcome our better angels. But I don't know if they had this in mind. The first 3 words of our Constitution are the animating words, we the people. The document is only as good as the people doing the voting, the people we vote into office, and the people who act as checks and balances. That's the great problem today. Meacham thinks we're in a moral crisis. Too many of us have decided to put our own interests ahead of constitutional order that is based on our rule of law and based on our not just actually taking everything we want when we want it. The most important idea in the American experiment was the one that Thomas Jefferson wrote in June of 1776. All men are created equal. All people are created equal. Every generation that has advanced the cause of liberty has lived into that sentence. And the generations that have pulled us back are the ones that have forgotten that that is why we are here. Patriotism is loyalty to an idea, to a creed that anybody who comes here says, he says, as Reagan says, all the lost people, all the lost pilgrims from all the lost places who are hurtling through the darkness toward home. Ronald Reagan said that in his farewell address. Ronald Reagan could not be nominated by the Republican Party today. That's how far we have come. Meacham told the audience that Frederick Douglass is the most important person of the 19th century. Born into slavery, Douglass said in 1851, I, for one, Do not despair of this republic, the fiat of the Almighty. Let there be light has not yet spent its force. Meacham said Douglas called the Constitution a glorious liberty document because he saw that it was the user's guide for our country's mission. The Declaration of Independence is our mission statement, and the Constitution is our user's guide. Meacham made this serious warning and plea to the American people. There is nothing guaranteed about America making it to tomorrow. It's a fragile experiment because it's human, not clinical. What I want everyone to try to do at this point is think about what do you want the future to say about us. We are at risk of being a generation that loses the ethos that sent men to Omaha Beach, that sent people to Gettysburg, that sent people to Selma, Alabama. To broaden the definition and understanding of what our country can be, and it's not easy, but it is also vitally never supposed to be about the whims and the ego of a single person. So Martin Luther King also said, "No lie can live forever." I find comfort in that. He also said this, which has been really useful for me as I journey through this unprecedented moment. He said, "I am happy that Jesus didn't say like your enemies, because it's pretty difficult to like some people. Like is sentimental, and it's pretty difficult to like someone bombing your home. It's difficult to like someone threatening your children, and difficult to like congressmen who spend all their time trying to defeat civil rights. Love is greater than like. Love is understanding, redemptive, creative, goodwill for all." So that quote has helped me struggle, as I struggle in the tension of my anger and frustration about the grave consequences of our last election, and my anger at elected officials that have failed to do their jobs, of keeping true to the checks and balances of our Constitution. This and the problem of how to do my part and what to do with my anger as I resist fascism and work to save democracy. How shall we keep love at the center of our resistance? Martin Luther King is still informing us as we move into this new chapter. His essay, Love, Law, and Civil Disobedience, he said, another thing in this movement is the idea that there is within human nature an amazing potential for goodness. There is within human nature something that can respond to goodness. There is something in human nature that can respond to goodness. So that man is neither innately good nor is he innately bad. He has potentialities for both. So the nonviolent resistor never lets this idea go, that something within human nature can respond to goodness, so that a Jesus of Nazareth or a Mahatma Gandhi can appeal to the human beings and appeal to the element of evil within them, and a Hitler can appeal to the element of evil with him. But we must never, ever forget that there is something within human nature that responds to goodness. Man is not totally depraved. The individuals who believe in this movement of nonviolence, believe in the struggles that we have, believe that the worst segregationist can become an integrationist. Now, sometimes it's hard to believe that that is what this movement says, but it firmly believes that something within human nature can be changed. And that is what stands at the top of the philosophy of the nonviolent movement. And it says something else. It says that it is a moral obligation to refuse to cooperate with evil, as it is as evil as it is to cooperate with good. Non-cooperation with evil is as much an or moral obligation as cooperation with good. So there are two types of laws. There are unjust laws and there are just laws. And so we would be first to obey just laws and then to not obey the unjust laws. So while Minneapolis is under siege, a group of Buddhist monks have been walking for peace across the South. They are holding on to a similar belief that MLK wrote about, that there is something within human nature that can respond to goodness. The monks came from the Theravada Buddhist monasteries around the globe. At first, there were 19 walking the 2,300-mile journey that started at the Vipassana Center in Fort Worth. So I have been so struck all week by the juxtaposition of what's happening in Minneapolis and what's happening across the South in our red state, reddest of red states. They set off on October 26th, and they pass through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. They stop at the capital at each state. They draw frequently thousands of people, and their social media has attracted 100.7 million followers. Thousands of people from different races, from different faiths, stop and offer gratitude. The Baptist Church had less than 24 hours to prepare for hosting this group and letting them speak to the huge crowd that came. It's stunning to see these folks from these red states bowing in Anjali Mudra and sometimes kneeling in humility to the monks. Then when they get to Washington, D.C., they plan to ask Congress to recognize Vesak, the day that commemorates the Buddha's day of birth, enlightenment, and death, as a federal holiday. And they explain their peace walk as, we are planning to go to Washington, D.C. because D.C. is the heart of this nation. And by reaching into the heart of the nation, we believe that we can reach the heart of all Americans. And by being able to deliver the peace message from there, we think we can reach to all these American people across the United States. We are just walking for peace, step by step. The message remains intentionally simple. Cultivate compassion, reduce harm, and remember shared humility. If you see some of the Facebook posts and the other things about videos of these folks, you see people meeting them with deep humility, sometimes with tears in their eyes. You see the compassion and the humility on their faces. It's stunning. They've been accompanied by Aloka, a 4-year-old Indian pariah dog whose remarkable journey has turned him into a symbol of peace and compassion. Once a stray in India, Aloka is now walking alongside the Buddhist monks. And he also appears to be dedicated to the message of unity, mindfulness, and harmony. His story began in India on a 112-day walk for peace led by the same monk who's leading this group. And he began following them, and he refused to go away. And so they finally adopted him and named him Aloka, which means divine light. He is now an international symbol of peace with the heart-shaped marking on his forehead and his calm and loving demeanor. Yes, our country is experiencing a moral crisis, and we must act. Like Martin Luther King's clergy call to Selma, last Friday, an organization in Minneapolis called March has put out a national call for clergy to come to their city and support the protests and bear witness. My heart aches to go. I've made a plane reservation. I have a hotel reservation. I'm still struggling. What if I can't go? What if I can't be there? What will we do in solidarity? What can we do? For inspiration, I want to share reading and close the service, the sermon. It's called Ant Survival and the Work of Carrying Each Other by Reverend Michelle Collins. When the water rises, there is no high ground. The nest dissolves beneath the flood, chambers collapsing into the current, tunnels erased by the surge. This is the moment when separation means drowning, and so they do not separate. Thousands of bodies move toward each other, mandibles gripping legs, legs hooking thoraxes, weaving themselves into a living fabric. The raft has no leader and no blueprint. Each ant becomes an anchor and buoyancy for the others. Those on the bottom hold their breath in air pockets formed beneath bodies. Those on top rotate downward as the lower ones tire, an endless cycle of support and sacrifice. The raft floats. It carries its queen at the center, the larva wrapped around the protective layers of interlocked forms. The current pulls and tries to tear the weave apart, but the grip tightens. This is not stubbornness. It's something older than choice. The understanding that survival is not individual, and the membrane between self and other dissolves when the waters come. Days pass, the raft drifts until it finds solid earth again, or catches on debris that will give it temporary home. And then the bodies unlock, the weave releases, and each ant walks away carrying the memory of how they held each other above the rushing waters. There is something older than choice that is calling us to answer the call to save our democracy. Let us not despair America's glorious mission of liberty and our grand experiment and its we the people creed and its ideal that all people are created equal. Let's not abandon it. And may we be a part of the light that has not yet spent its force. May it be so. Amen. We're going to sing a hymn, Building a New Way, and I don't have the number handy. I've lost my order of service. Which number is that?
Number 1017 in the
1017 in the teal hymnal. The words will also be on your screen. And I hope that you will sing with energy and joy.
I invite you now to join me in reciting the words on the screen and in your order of service to accompany us extinguishing of our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
A Space for Beauty by Reverend Tandy Rogers. May your resistance be grounded in love. May you know when to rest and when to rise. May you remember that pushing back against harm is also a way of making space for beauty. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be. Food and conversation. Thank you.
You made a big decision.
Well, I haven't